Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's over Teddy here, and today I'll be sharing with you guys how to make this most requested tutorial. And yes, make sure you stay to the end to watch to see the final result. And this is what my outcome looks like. I really love this, very simple and easy to make. And yes, if this is your first time coming across this channel, please don't forget to subscribe and like. Okay, also drop a comment in the comment section. This is what it looks like when you wear it, and then you have to adjust it later. So let's dive into the tutorial. Now I have my pattern, and I'm just going to go ahead and draw out my starting point, which is half an inch, and then from there I removed 3 inches. Okay, so more like when you're cutting your off shoulder, you're going to be removing 3 inches. I went ahead to mark from my shoulder to my bust point and shoulder to my waistline as well. Then from there I went ahead to mark the length of the gown. So this is, you need to pay attention. Now my total gown length is supposed to be 35 inches. Okay, so where I want that bubble to start from is going to be around 30 inches. Then I added extra 4 inches, and that's going to create the bubble, the one that covers the bubble, okay, or the one that overlays on the bubble. So that is 34 inches, and that's what I marked there. All right, so 30 plus 4 inches, that's going to give you 34 inches. Remember, what I marked there is 30, so our gauntlet is supposed to be 35 inches, but what we've marked there so far is 30 inches plus 4 inches for the bubble, so remaining 5 inches to complete the length of the gown. I hope that makes sense. Please, you can come back again to watch this again. All right, now I'm going to be marking or measuring the remaining 5 inches, which is supposed to complete the gown length. All right, so I'm just going to mark it just for us to understand, but I'll cut it out separately. So what we did here is that the half length which you're working with this gown is 30 inches. So it depends on you where you want your own bubble to start from. So for me it's 30 inches, and I added additional 4 inches, making it 34 inches. So that half length there is 34 inches. Now remaining the 5 inches to complete our 35 inches of length. Does it make sense? So let's say in total what we have there now is 39 inches. Okay, right, 39. So now we'll come down to mark that 5 inches later. So I've not marked it, I was just explaining to you guys. Now I'm going to, on that shoulder line, I'm going to mark my shoulder divided by 2, and you add 2 inches. Now I don't think you have to add these 2 inches. I added it, but I had to place my neckline or my neck to be smaller. So if you still want yours, maybe you want your own pleating to be plenty, you can go ahead and do this thing. If you want it to even be more full, I can go ahead to also do that. But if you don't want to have pleats at all, you just go ahead to mark the neck width you want to work with. Okay, so on the bust point I went ahead to divide my bust circumference by 4, and I added additional 2 inches. So that's going to serve as our ease and our sewing. You can as well add more than 2 inches. Okay, so this is not a standard, you can add as much as you want. So it depends on how big you want and how free you want your gown to be. Now to determine how wide you want the down of the gown to be, or the half length, let me use the word half length because that's not the complete length. Remember, this is a bubble gown, and you should make it to be like a little bit of a line. Okay, so you want that place to be able to look puffy or to look bigger. So what I marked there is 16 inches. So you can mark for yours. I didn't use any particular measurement, I just use 16, but my hip measurement should be around 10 inches. So let's assume what we added there is 6 inches. You can go more than this if you want yours to even be fuller. Okay, so we are cutting the bubble part separately, we are attaching it separately. That's why I did not mark. I only marked, my measurement stopped at the half length, which is from the 30 inches plus 4 inches, sorry, that's 34 inches. Okay, now I've gone ahead to draw that the side. We'll come back to that later. Now I'm going to mark that 5 inches, which is supposed to be the bubble part, and that is supposed to complete our gown length to be 35, right? That 4 inches I added to that 30 inches, I'm not assuming that is we are using it for anything, because we're only going to use it to bubble our clothes, so it is not added. All right, so we're just adding that, like we're just adding it for you to understand. Okay, so don't make the mistake of, oh, since I've added 4 inches here, let me leave it, the length is going to be complete. No, you have to add that 4 inches to the to the half length. Assuming your own half length now is 32, you add your 4 inches, that's going to give you 36. Then you add the remaining to complete your gown length. I just hope this is explanatory, because I feel like this is a whole lot. So I'm labeling the bubble part, and I said cut about times 2 or 3 of what you're going to have there. That's the circumference of what you have around that bubble part. You can cut about times 2 or 3 of it, depending on how much you want your bubble to be. All right, now back to the neckline of the shoulder. Now you can go ahead to create your cuff. So what I marked initially was my shoulder, and I added 1 inch. So I'll be working with my exact shoulder measurement, and I'll be connecting it to create my armhole curve. I would advise you connect this directly to your bust point, because I used my armhole line and later I had to reduce it to, for it to relax well. So you should go ahead and use your, your bust line. Okay, so this is my first time trying this, and you should learn from my mistake. All right, I already corrected it from the final result, so you can't detect that, but I'm just telling you because I had to, do the correction before showing you guys. So what I did there was to connect to the armhole, but like I said, you should connect to the bust point. All right, so now I'm just labeling that this is the front part, but we'll have to also draft the back part. It's very simple. We're going to be using one pattern for the front and the back. So the only difference for the back is the neck opening. Okay, so more like the keyhole neckline. So for that, I want mine to be from that neck to, let's say, -3 already. You're going to minus that 3 from the shoulder. Just mark 15 inches. Okay, so that's what I marked. You can mark lower, maybe to your waistline, or even higher if you don't want it to be open. You just mark it towards maybe the chest line. So I used my ruler to just connect the keyhole that I want, and you can see that I connected it straight. So I removed like half an inch on that point here, that point I marked. Okay, so that this is what our back is going to. So we're going to cut the front first, and then we are going to cut for the back. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut out this pattern, and that bubble part you're going to cut that separate like I did. You're going to cut that fabric on that particular side differently. I think there are a lot of methods to use when sewing this, but this is the one I was able to come up with here. So this is my own method. Now I've gone ahead to cut out the front and the back. You can see this other side is the front, the one that has opening is the back. Okay, so what we are going to be doing is to fold, and I also added, sorry, I added half an inch to the shoulder and also to the hemline to join. Okay, to the hemline to join the bubble part. So this is the bubble part. Remember, we need to create our bubble effect, and I'll be showing you guys how to do. So I have two pieces here. The smaller one, which is the pattern on, is what we'll be using as our lining. Okay, so that's exactly the bubble we need. But when you're going to be cutting this, you need to cut in a sense that you want this bubble part, you don't want the joining to show, so you want to add 3 to 4 inches length. So the bubble part is supposed to be 5 inches, sorry. So I added additional 3 inches to make it 8 inches. I added additional 3 to 4 inches to make it 8 inches or 9. So by the time you use the smaller one to turn it, it is going to come up. All right, and there will be no seam showing in, and that's going to help to create the bubble. And I remember I said cut times 2 or 3 of this, and I cut times 2 of the small one and as well as the other one. Okay, so it's enough to create a bubble, and will also go around my gown. Now the next thing you're going to do is to pleat the neckline. All right, pleat it to your desired length or size, and also do the same thing for the back. You're also going to go ahead and hem the keyhole opening for the back, and also the armhole as well. You're going to hem the armhole for the front and the back, and you're also going to go ahead and join the sides. Okay, so I'll do all those things, and I will show you guys what mine looks like. Okay, so I have gone ahead to sew this. I've pleated my neckline and also closed my sides. Okay, so this is what I have. This is about 8 inches. I later reduced it. Yeah, I later reduced it, but this is what I have so far. You can decide to make use of this. It's still very much okay. I just wanted it to look smaller. All right, so this is what I have here. This is the back. I went ahead to also press the fabric very nicely. Now this is the hemline of my gown. This is, let's assume this is our half length, right? So I'm going to make sure that what I have around that hemline is going to be what our bubble, at the end of the day, our bubble should be equivalent to that, right? Now I'm going ahead to join this my bubble piece that I'll be working with, and I also join the lining part, which is the smaller part. Now we are going to create our bubble. All right, it is very easy to do, and what you're going to be doing is to face right side of the shorter one to the right side of the long one. Okay, so you're going to be facing right side to right side, and you're going to pleat. Now you can either decide to pleat or do gathers depending on the type of bubble you want. Okay, you can decide to pleat or you do gathers. Just watch what I'm doing and you will understand. It's very simple. So what I'll be doing here now is I'll place them together like this, matching up, and you can see the smaller one is shorter. That's fine, don't worry. Just go ahead and pleat as much as you want. Pleat to the point maybe how you want, where your gown is going to stop, the circumference you want it to be. You can maybe do yours to any length. I did mine to about 30 I think 50 inches or so, or 50 something. So it's not like there is no particular standard though. Just do what you want, okay, and how you want it. So this is what I have now. I've gone ahead to pleat, and you can see my own pleat is a lot here. So in case you don't want your bubble to be as mine, just don't cut times two of what your pattern is. Maybe you can do one and a half, okay, times one and a half. And I'm just going to use my hand to open up this so that our bubble can come out nicely, okay. After doing this, I'm just going to position my fabric and then lay the smaller one. So you can bring the smaller one up so it can match with the big one, and once it matches, you will see that it's going to take that big one up a little. So the smaller one is going to, the joining at that, that joining there is going to now be inside. All right, so the seam is not showing anywhere, and that's going to help to create your bubble. You can see how mine is looking, and I'm going to just go ahead and pleat. As I'm folding, I'll go ahead and pleat that mouth side so that it can be equivalent to the circumference of my gown length. Okay, so you're going to match it up, sew it and pleat it, or gather, anyone you want to do. Make sure that it's equivalent to what you have on your gown. My gown here is about 30 and a half. That's about 61 inches in total. So that ruffle, that bubble part should be about 61 in total. Okay, remember what we have there is about times 2 of our pattern. So that's obviously is bigger than the gown. So you're going to make sure you pleat it or gather it up so that it's enough to accommodate that hemline of our gown. I just hope this grammar is not too much. Please just watch over and over, you will understand. It's very, very simple. Okay, now I've gone ahead to do this. Look at my bubbles. Okay, I'm using my hand. It's important to use your hand, especially when your pleats are a lot. Just use a hand and make it to come out. You can see how the inside look. You can see the joining around there. You're seeing what I'm talking about, and this is equivalent to the gown, the circumference of the gown. That's the round of the gown. In case you don't want to know what circumference is, that means like the round. Okay, so this is what I have. It's just equivalent to what I have on the gown, and as you can see, exactly, so it should be the same for yours. And the next thing we're going to be doing is to join this to the fabric. Okay, so we're going to be joining right side to right side. Don't forget, I also joined the bubble. I also, after doing the whole thing, I also joined it. So I'm going to be using that joining as the other side, like to join to match with the side of my gown. Okay, so I'm going to match it up, and I will sew by half an inch. You're going to sew round. All right, it's supposed to match up your gown circumference. Okay, so by the time you sew round, we are going to do the next step. So I'll do it and I'll show you. So this is what I have after doing this. We are almost done, don't worry. This is what we have after doing this. All right, if you want your bubbles to be bigger than this, please, that means you're going to do just your calculation on your own. If you want it to be longer than this, maybe let's assume you're still working my measurement and I want it to be longer like this. I probably will make my half length part to be maybe around 28, add 4 inches to it, then add my additional, like the remaining parts of it to complete it. Okay, that's it. So now the next thing we are going to do is to turn the back of this gown, and we're going to be attaching our elastic. This is like to create the bubble that is going to hold onto your waist, onto your laps. Okay, now you can decide to start directly at where that your stitch is. That's where the joining is. I would advise you actually start there, unless your gown is longer than mine. But for me, I actually like how my own came out. But if you don't want, you can maybe start directly at the joining, or you can also come out by 1 inch. So for me, from that joining, I came out by 1 inch, and I'm marking that 1 inch there. So that's where my elastic band is going to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark this 1 inch round the gown, and I'll show you guys. Now this is my elastic band. What you're going to do to determine your elastic band is the place you want this is to be on you, like where this gown bubble is going to be on you. Just go ahead and use your tape to measure it. So for me, what I had was 39 inches. Okay, now I cut 39 inches for my elastic band, and I minus 3 inches here. I later minus 7 inches, so in total minus 10 inches. So whatever, let's assume your round thigh is 40 inches minus 10 inches, that's you're going to be working with 30 inches to create your bubble. Why? Is because so that it can be tight on you. If not, it's going to be loose. So what I'm going to be doing is divide my elastic into two. I use half an inch elastic. You're going to divide it into two. I just marked where that is, and I'm going to be taking one side of the elastic to match it to one other side. So the center is going to be the center. I don't know how to explain, but half of it is going to match to the other side. So this is here, and the place I marked, which like dividing it into two, is going to be to the other side. I don't know if that makes sense, but watch what I'm doing, you understand. So this is going to match, and this is going to be by the side, and the other side is going to join towards the other side. So as you're sewing, you're stretching out that elastic band. I lost the clip here I was sewing this. I'm very sorry, but it's very easy to do. Okay, so after doing this is what I have, and you can see how my bob, I know it's looking funny, but don't worry, when I wear it you understand. This is for the neckband. I just cut my, I think this is 1 inch. So I already sewed the other side. What I did was from the center, you come in, depending on what your width, the width of your neck is. So for me it was 4 inches, it was 8 inches, which is four divided, which is divided by 2 is 4 now. So I marked 4, then I marked 3 inches after that 4. That's going to be for your neck. Okay, you're not going to be sewing that, you're going to leave it open, then mark another 4 inches again for the back. If this part is confusing, don't worry, maybe I'll make a tutorial on how to attach your neckband. Okay, it's not hard. So I'll just go ahead and divide my neck with my neckband or my neckline into two. So I'll match it up with the neckband. Okay, I'm going to match it up like so, right side facing to the wrong side of the cloth, and I will pin it. And yeah, we're going to sew that towards the end of, like, to where it stops, and from there the you minus, like wherever the band stops, you're going to mark from there, you're marking 3 inches from there, okay, to the next point. So from that next point you're going to put the back to wherever the neckline or to wherever the band stops. So there is a spacing which is going to be around your shoulder point or around your shoulder neck side. I don't know how to explain that, but it's just very simple. Ugh, I'm already tired. So this is what I have so far, and it looks really nice. Thank you so much for joining. Do not forget to like, subscribe.